So what did we get up to last week? What did we discuss?
We're talking about the connection of salah.
Right, what we were saying specifically.
We're saying we're saying how you have to connect with Allah, and if you don't connect with Him, it's like not even chocolate.
Not even chocolate. Alright,
It's
fair
like
enough.
not even chocolate.
Okay. So it's like you're missing out on something that's important to you. What else did we say? What else did we speak about?
You were saying to get in a habit of doing wudu before the salah, before the adhan. Okay, so when the adhan when it advance, you're ready to pray.
Alright, so the presence of mind before the time of salat, so that when a person starts salat, that they've got already the kind of the basis of the qualities that are supposed to be in salat. So what are the qualities that are supposed to be in salat that we spoke about? Khushu' and? Alright, so is that what we defined it as? Okay. We said, well, the Imam said, he said, first before that, he said al-khushu', and then he said what else? Hudur al-qalb. Okay, so what did we say khushu' was?
Reverence.
Reverence, and how did we define it in the prayers?
Respect of who you are standing in front of.
Right? So in its first essence, the khushu' is the stopping of movement. Okay? Khasha'a. Khasha'a. They kind of came to a realization, almost like an epiphany or whatever you want to call it. Okay? Khasha'a. Their situation changed, their circumstances, their state changed. So the first part of that is physical. The fidgeting and carrying on the prayers outside of what the proper movements are, that takes away one's khushu'. And the second one is, we said, and that concentration, the ulama said, is the khushu' that's the ruh of the salat. Firstly, that the body doesn't move and they're fidgeting and carrying on, and secondly, that the mind and the heart are firm in other words, the heart's not thinking about something else or covering something else, and the mind isn't pondering over other than Allah Azza wa Jal, hopefully. Like Sayyidina Umar Allah Marda Anhu, he used to think about the armies that he was going to send out sometimes in his prayer. So it's permissible to do. To think about something in the deen is permissible to do during your prayer. Except that's not the ghaya, that's not the goal. The goal is what? Allah. Alright? Okay? Stay focused on Allah, to think about Allah, because that's the mawqif. That's where the Prophet of Allah he went on the Isra wal Mi'raj to talk to Allah Azza wa Jal and to see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Allah to present him with the gift of prayer. The gift of prayer. So that the Prophet in the first instance and his Ummah in the second instance, alayhi salatu wasalam, can talk to their Creator, can have a connection between them and their Creator. Okay, so the first instance of it is the physical presence, because our prayer has a physical movements to it. There's ruku', sujood, qiyam, all the different parts of the tashahhud, all the different parts of the salat. So the physical aspect has to be there. Then the second part of it is the mental aspect, that we can't be thinking, imagine being in salat and thinking about haram. Alright? Imagine that, thinking about doing something haram in one's prayer. What would the status of one's prayer be? And then it's the heart. And the heart is the hardest one to get, although that's the maqsud, the goal of the prayer is for the heart or the soul to connect with Allah Azza wa Jal. That's the hardest part, because the heart wants what the heart wants. Isn't that what the saying goes? There's someone, they want to do, the men have a saying, a man's got to do what a man's got to do. When we have to do something, we've got to do it, that's it. And generally speaking, and maybe it's more feminine the females that say that, the heart wants what the heart wants. They don't care what the consequences are. Same as what a man's got to do, what a man's got to do. We don't care what the consequences are. So the heart wants what the heart wants. So if the heart all day long, throughout the week, throughout the month, throughout the year, is worrying about A, B, C, D, E, F, and G, then when it comes time to pray, it's difficult to concentrate, to let go basically of what the heart wants, and let the heart go to what it's made for, and that's to know Allah Azza wa Jalla. So that hudur al-qalb is necessary.
What's to be said about the person who's thinking about haram in his prayer?
Some of the ulama go as far as to say the person who thinks about like drinking alcohol or taking drugs or doing zina, their prayer is invalid. Because the whole point is that here is a person, and not what the Shafi'i say, but some of the other men go that far. Okay, the point is here is a person who is trying to connect to Allah, and Allah says this is haram at any time of the time. Any time that a person's involved in it, it's haram. And he's a person thinking about doing it or wanting to do it or planning how they're going to do it. So they say it's the antithesis of salat, yani it's the opposite of what salat's about. So some of the ulama go to that point. Now why I'm saying that is that that's how grievous it is. That's how immense it is that a person, when they should be thinking about Allah Azza wa Jal, they're thinking about doing haram in the most sacred of circumstances. In the time when Allah has called the servant to spend time, Allah says, I'm ready for you. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Hayya salah, hayya falah. Allah's waiting. Allah's ready for us. And then the person's saying, yeah, okay, look, physically I'm standing there and whatever, but really I'm thinking about doing this or doing that or doing the other one.
What about someone who's fleeing away from the haram, who's going to salah?
In what way?
So, instead of doing the haram, he goes to the salah instead. He's it's a conflict. I mean, that was a very recent case. There was a person who was arrested for murder recently, and he was in Tarawih, the night before, a couple of nights before.
Look, what I'm talking about is not the performance of it. Everyone's going to do sins. That's just how it is. We're human beings. Allah's created us and we're going to sin. So what I'm saying is that a person's in their prayers and they're mentally thinking about performing haram, whether it's murder or homicide, whatever they're going to do. That's where the issue is. That's where it's unacceptable to do so. But of course the prayer is like the saqata anhu al-fard, meaning that Allah Azza wa Jal won't ask that person on the day of judgment, did you pray, for example, dhuhr prayer? Because they prayed it physically, they were there. So we're not talking about just the adat salat, which is the completion of salat. That can be done in whatever, think about whatever you want to think about, that's your issue. We're talking about using the salat to connect to Allah Azza wa Jal. The body can't connect to Allah. The mind can't comprehend Allah Azza wa Jal. So all the mind can do is deduct or go through the process of deduction to determine Allah exists. You with me? That's La ilaha illallah. That's all the mind can do. We don't know what Allah looks like. The five senses, we can't smell, taste, feel, etc. Allah Azza wa Jal. So the mind, although it's got a huge capacity, its limitation stops at Allah. That's where it stops. That's why Allah is what they call munazzah. That's why Allah is transcendent. And that's what makes Allah Allah. But what can encompass Allah is the soul. Because it's nafakhna fihi min ruhina. Allah Azza wa Jalla said we blew into Sayyidina Adam from our soul, whatever that means. From the souls that Allah has, or from Him subhanahu wa ta'ala, however that comes across in the meaning. So, and there's another hadith, Qudsi, that says that the whole universe couldn't encompass Allah Azza wa Jal, but the heart of the believer can. So, it's not about we're talking about the fiqh, the halal and haram of the prayers. It's about one state within that prayer in terms of connecting to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala the way that Allah wants. So if someone has done haram, if someone's murdered someone, yeah, go and pray. It's good to do because al-hasana tadhhib as-sayyi'ah. Like a good deed wipes out a bad deed. So yeah, everyone's making mistakes, right? Some people have bigger mistakes than others. And some people have habits. And that's one of the things that we have to, I think, as Muslims really consider. That we're always in a hurry, to condemn people, condemn what they call homosexuals. We're in a hurry to condemn alcoholics or people who drink alcohol. We're in a hurry to condemn people who take drugs. We're in a hurry to condemn. But what are we doing to change that situation? Because Allah doesn't want us to condemn. Allah wants us to create change. And secondly, what is our understanding of the person committing that thing that we believe is, we know it's sinful, we know it's haram, we don't like the sin, but what's the state of that person? If they're addicted, then there's no hukm on them. That's hukm al-mubtali in the shara. Someone who is addicted to alcohol, they don't go and whip them because they're addicted, they're alcoholic. Someone's addicted to drugs, and these days, we have people who are addicted to sex addicts and whatever, and all the different, kleptomaniacs and the gamut of, drug addicts and whatever. So our deen is a deen of rahmah. And if we as Muslims don't carry the rahmah, then we're not fulfilling the prophetic tradition. So the salat is a renewal for our heart in that sense. And it's a recharging of our, it's more than recharge, it's like a reboot or reformat if you go to a computer jargon. It's a reformat. Every prayer should be a reformat for us. We should be leaving behind whatever we were involved in, no matter how good it was. No matter how awesome we were. So we're talking about the lowest of the low, in that sense. No matter how much money I gave in sadaqah, how much Qur'an I read, no matter how many rak'at of salat that I prayed, that should be forgotten. And the ulama even talk about that when you forget the deed you've done, that's a sign of acceptance. But when it's in your mind, it means it wasn't accepted. So the prayer has to have that position in our lives. And if we're not, and that's why aqimus salat, Allah Azza wa Jalla says. So what we're saying is the way that a person thinks, what a person thinks about in their prayer, consciously. And then unconsciously, in other words, what goes on in one's heart, that only comes through the training of the mind and the body. Discipline. Like we think that spirituality is all, she'll be right, mate, hang out and be cool, don't worry about money. And it's not. It's not driving a combi van, whatever. That's not spirituality. All right? That could be zuhud, that could be renouncing the dunya. But just because you renounce the dunya, it doesn't mean that you're necessarily going to be more spiritual than somebody else, than a businessman who gives his money fi sabilillah, he's a philanthropist, whatever, he cares about people. Like some of these sports stars and these guys, they go and visit people in hospital, actors, they show up. I'm not saying that we should follow them. I'm just giving you an example between the combi van, the hermit, and someone who's wealthy and famous and all that. So it's not necessarily that condition. It's not necessarily that state of rejection of the dunya. It's this the formula of spiritual discipline and mental discipline and physical discipline that imbues in one, that allows one's soul to illuminate. And it has to be an intention to do so. If I'm just doing whatever and my intention isn't to reach Allah, and my intention isn't except those who reach Allah with a sound, in a sound state, or with a sound spirit, it's not going to happen. It doesn't matter how many deeds you do. It's not going to happen. If every day I want to run the 100-meter sprint, whatever, in the Olympics, and every day I go for a jog, I'm jogging every day. Is it going to prepare me for the 100-meter sprint? What do you reckon? Yeah or no? No, all right. I want to become a doctor of philosophy, and every day I'm reading the newspaper. Okay, I'm getting information, but it's not the right information, and it's not taking me to where I want to be. So if the intention's not there as well, then you get nothing out of it. So this is the clarification of not only what's in the salat, but that leads up to the salat. Because it's a'zam mawqif. There has never ever in the history of histories, in the history of creation, in the history of time, has there ever been a more a'zam mawqif, a more immense situation or circumstance than when the Prophet of Allah ﷺ got salat? Ever. There has never been. Ever. That's it. That's like the pinnacle of pinnacles. That's the top of the top, the cream of the cream. There's nothing more substantial than that. There is nothing more magnanimous than that circumstance when the Prophet of Allah got the prayer, not Jannah. No, it's beyond that. It's beyond that. No creation has ever gone to the level where the Prophet of Allah went to get the salat from Allah Azza wa Jalla. Ever. There's never been. That's it. That's the total pinnacle, meridian, whatever you want to call it. So if the mawqif itself was that, in other words, the circumstance was that awesome, then what about what was given in the circumstance? The prayer. How awesome is that? And because sometimes it's the human nature. Human nature, when something, you love eating apple pie, someone gives apple pie and makes you eat it, you don't want to eat it anymore. Oh, that's it. I'm not really into it. But when you haven't eaten apple pie for a month, and you hear that new shop, cafes open, and they've got handmade apple pie, organic, sugar-free, whatever it is, okay? What happens? Made the Facebook, the whole thing's going crazy. Photo jam, whatever it's called. What's that one?
Instagram.
No, there's another one. Photo something or other. Picture framing or something, whatever it is. Snapchat, sorry. Snapchat's going ballistic, Everyone's going crazy. It's all happening. Everyone's going, apple pie, it's all good. Okay? So that's the natural state of human beings. Someone tells you to do something, all of a sudden, someone's telling me to do it, I don't want to do it. And that's the only reason we don't love salat, because it's fard. If it wasn't fard, we would love our salat. We would love to pray. If all of a sudden they said, the government is for an example, so anyone who prays will get shot, oof, we'll go up in arms. What do you mean? Pray, we have to pray. Because it's fard, it's like, yeah, I'll just take care of it, I'll get it done. I'll get it done. That's human nature. That's the nafs. And don't think that's not the wisdom of Allah Azza wa Jal in that. Don't think it's not the wisdom. Because what does he say about the munafiq thing? إِذَا قَامُوا إِلَى الصَّلَاةِ قَامُوا كُسَالَى. That's exactly what we're doing. Okay? Kusala. If they go to pray, they're not saying they're not doing it, they're doing it. But it's all like, pray, let's go boys, Snapchat. Let's get on to it. Alright? It's only because it's fard, and that's where the hikmah is. If you can overcome your ego and your lower self in that regard, just over the fact that you've been ordered to do it, you'll benefit from your prayer. You'll benefit from your love to pray. What did he say? I love 3 things from your world. One of them, prayer. Coolness of his eyes. In other words, that's when he was chilling out. Even he used the word, before the word cool was used, he used it, alayhi salatu wasalam. He said, it's the coolness of my eyes. Chill out. He used it. That's where I chill out. He was saying, alayhi salatu wasalam. Coolness. So he's taking it easy. Isn't it chillaxing? Oh, it's a bit of a whack word. Alright? Chilling out, whatever it is. But so that's the fight. That's the fight between my nafs and Allah. And if one can overcome their nafs just because it's been obliged, Allah's obliged us to do it, then I'll benefit. Then my salat will change completely. And I wonder, I don't want you to say, but I wonder if anyone from last week into this week, up until today, has noticed any difference in their salat. If you haven't, you need to work on it. If you haven't, you need to talk to your nafs. You need to spend 10 minutes on your own with your ego. Where do you think you're taking me? What do you think you're doing? Who do you think you are? What do you think your role is? Do you think you know more than Allah? Do you think you know more than the Prophet of Allah? Do you think you're going to control me and send me down the wrong path? If you're not talking to your nafs, particularly when it comes to salat, even before you enter into the salat, even when you start to think about going to the salat, if you're not talking to your nafs and putting the nafs in its place, you're not going to get much out of it. Okay, and then here's the kicker, right? I get accepted to whatever Harvard Medical School or Oxford, Cambridge, Rhodes Scholar, and I go there, and I'm like, it's all I know it all. It's easy. I don't get any benefit out of it. How long am I going to last there? Even though that's the most prestigious thing, I do it and I don't get any benefit out of it. How long am I going to last? Long or short? Short. So here it is, it's salat. It's an obligation upon me. I have to do it. It's the most immense circumstance that's ever happened in the history of time and the universe, but I'm not getting anything out of it. Am I going to love it? No. If the apple pie tasted foul, I'm not going to eat it. Doesn't matter how much I love apple pie. Doesn't matter how much I love it. It doesn't taste nice. It doesn't matter. It's my favorite, sweet or dessert or whatever. But I'm not getting anything out of it. So that's why there's that disconnect between us and our prayers. And then we always talk about the ummah and blah 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 and whatever else and the leaders. What about that? Get your salat in order and everything will be in order for you in your life. Everything will be in order. Because you'll be with what? With Allah. You have that connection between you and Allah Azza wa Jal. And you'll be fine. All right, everyone else, inshallah, Allah will fix them, but you'll be fine. And that's what matters. That's what matters. Allah's not going to ask you about the Amir of Qatar. It's not your problem. Allah's going to ask you about the leader of this association or whatever the government advisory group to the government. No one asks you to attend. Right? You want to do something, write a letter. That's all you can really do. What else can you do? Protest? Protest. Other than that, what? Let it affect your whole life and the way you lead your life and all that. So that's what Imam Haddad is trying to get through to us. That's what he's trying to get through to us. That this is not just some ordinary thing. It's not yoga or aerobics or Pilates or whatever it is that we do. And what's behind it is so immense that even the mind boggles. The brain can't really comprehend it, but the heart can. But if all these things aren't in order to allow the heart to gain, then the spirit won't. And if the spirit doesn't, it's going to be like, give me something else. Give me something else. And and everyone think about it for themselves. When I have a problem, when I have a need, who or what do I turn to? It's as simple as that, answering that question. If it's so-and-so, then it means I don't love my salat. It means I'm not really I might be getting 60% out of my salat, which is okay, or 70. But no one would, if you went to get your paycheck at the end of the week and your boss only gave you 70%, there'll be problems. There'll be serious issues. He's like, well, you didn't concentrate then, you didn't concentrate. You'd be like, what do you mean? I'm a human being. I can't, no, sorry, it doesn't work. I want my full check. No one would accept that. So, in the worst thief, the Prophet of Allah, he said, who's who? Who's the worst thief? The one that steals from their prayers. Alright, the one who steals from their prayers. So, if we're not going to prayer first off, it's not our first option before we talk to anyone, before we message, before we make mashwara, then we haven't got the full connect with our prayers. We're not getting, that's a differentiating factor. Alright, if you want to know whether you're getting 100% from your prayers, that's what you've got to think about. Is the first thing I do when I have a dilemma, when I have a need, when I have a problem, when I have something to comprehend, is the first thing I do wudu and then pray, then you're getting full benefit out of your prayers. You're getting as much as you get right now. Alright? If that isn't the case, then you've got to consider where on the scale of priorities does my salat rate when I have a quandary that I have to overcome, a difficulty, whatever it might be. So we continue, and we got up to last time, وَإِتْمَامُ الرُّكُوعِ وَالسُّجُودِ, isn't that right? الحمد لله رب العالمين الحمد لله في نعمه ويكافئ مزيدا والصلاة والسلام على خير الأنام وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم إننا وإنا تعلم التعليم والتذكر والتذكير والنفع والانتفاع والإفادة والاستفادة والدعاء إلى الهدى والضلالة على الخير والحق والتمسك بكتاب الله وسنة رسول الله ابتغاء مرضات الله وقربه وثوابه سبحانه وتعالى. Praise Allah Azza wa Jalla, praise it's worthy of the beneficent bestower of bounties and favours, and we ask our Lord Most High to send copious and unlimited and eternal blessings and salutations upon our beloved Prophet Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. يقول المؤلف رحمه الله رضي الله عنه وعنكم نفعنا به وبكم وإتمام الركوع والسجود وسائر الأركان.
Perfect your standing. Okay. Yes. Perfect your standing, you turn the Qur'an, meditate on it. Perfect your bowing, prostration, all the other essential acts.
So bowing, prostration, other essential acts. So we talked about the Qur'an, did we not?
Yes.
Alright? So, إتمام الركوع والسجود وسائر الأركان. So really, that hadith, or we mentioned that who's the worst thief, it's that the person that they don't complete the ruku', they don't complete their sujood, they don't stay properly in qiyam, they don't stand properly. Qiyam min qama or qawma means to be upright. So a person should be upright in their prayers, and when one goes into ruku', that one's back should be straight. It should be a 90-degree angle. This people leaning this way and that way. Except for women, it's a little bit different. They got to tuck in a little bit more. But for men, it should be a nice open chest, hands on the knees, and looking at the place of sujood. And a person should stop there, and Imam Shafi'i and Imam Abu Hanifa as well. The minimum of the time it takes to say Subhanallah. Subhanallah. That's the minimum. So it's not when you get there. You have to be still for the time it takes to say Subhanallah. That's the minimum. And by speaking about Abu Hanifa's got 12 rak'at, none before Asr, 4 before Dhuhr, 2 after Dhuhr. That's the only difference. We talked about last week, we said Asr, it's 12 rak'at, 4 before Dhuhr, 2 after Asr, and the rest is the same as Imam Shafi'i. So really, the only difference is 4 before Dhuhr. The rest is the same. I think we said something about Asr, that's not right. Okay?
No, you said it correctly.
Did he? Oh, okay. Okay. Alright, so whatever is a rukn of the salat, whatever is a pillar of the prayers, it can't be missed. If it's missed, then the prayer's void. It's invalid. It doesn't count for anything. So that's a slight wisdom that we may not, because we live in the material world, the ephemeral world, and we're just overcome by capitalism, whether we accept it or we don't accept it. We don't really understand what the movements of the body truly mean. Like, I don't want to be crass. I just want to give a direct, clear example. One of the comedians one time, he goes, that it's pretty funny if you're a bloke. I don't know how the sisters are going to take it, so I don't want to offend anyone, but just hear me out. He goes that women that dress lewdly, that if one of the guys calls her, like she's an unchaste woman or a harlot, or those words, you guys know what I mean, then she gets offended. And so the comedian's saying, wait a minute, the way you dress is a reflection of who you are. He said, if I was to come up to someone wearing a police uniform and say, you're a police officer, they say, no, just because I'm wearing a police uniform, it doesn't mean I'm a police officer. Okay, so what he's saying is, the way that a person dresses or looks is reflective of some part of their character. If a guy's wearing a business suit, obviously he's involved in some kind of formal employment. No one's going to wear a business suit and sweep the streets. If a guy's wearing work boots and shorts and a high-vis shirt, obviously does that kind of work. So the point being is that in this society in which we live in, you can do what you want, dress how you want, except wear a hijab, of course, that's the only exception of that, and do whatever you want, and no one can judge you about it, and nor should it reflect on who your character is. All right, in a perfect universe where people, are perfect, or that may be the case. The reality is we're all human beings, and what we do with our bodies is a reflection of what's going on inside of us. So there's a disjoin for us. There's a disjoin, all of us, because of the society which we live in. But Allah Azza wa Jal asks us to put the most ashraf, the most respected part of our bodies, being our foreheads, on the ground. And so for us, we don't see it as a big deal because there's a disjoin. You can do whatever you want, dress how you want, act how you want. In Australia, you don't have to call anyone sir or mister. What for? He's just like you. Even the Prime Minister is John, or what is it? Bill. What is it? Tony, sorry. Tony. You going, Tony? Maybe he's old. He doesn't get upset. Go to the Prime Minister of Lebanon and call him whatever his name is, Saad or whatever it is. What? They'll lock you up probably. All right, so that's the society in which we live in, and we have to appreciate that in order to work through it and to deal with the society, and then to deal with the difficulties in that society, so we don't ask anyone to put their head on the ground. Not going to happen. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. This is I don't know what you could tell anyone. If anyone come with a convincing argument, I'd love to hear it. But I'm a lawyer and I can't think of any convincing argument to get someone to put their head on the ground. Money, all right, but to what extent?
Yoga.
Yeah, okay, that's a good one. Voluntarily.
A person with a medical condition, there is only a way of actually...
Okay, if the doctor orders it, yeah, fair enough. So it's it's a difficult thing to do. And here we are doing it, but what's the effect it's having on our hearts? Minimal. Why? Because there's a disjoin. There's a disjoin between the body, the mind, and the soul. That's the society we live in. So we have to understand that, not just in our prayers, outside of our prayers. And sorry, I'm on pick on the sisters for some reason, but they're easy targets. So he said that his Arabic sister, she's jumping around, carrying on, smoking ciggies, talking loud, swearing. Wait a minute, you're wearing a hijab. Yep, fardan, it's just to cover that area, but it has more to it. The hijab isn't just that. It's not just the material you wear to cover that part of your body. There's more to it. Same with the brother, he's got the beard, he's swearing, he's spitting, he's fighting people, blah, 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 he's carrying on. I mean, you're representing the Prophet of Allah, they said so with the beard. And all the prophets, mind you, they all had beards. It doesn't match up. So recognizing the significance of making sujood with our bodies and letting our heart be affected with that and by that has to have a carryover in the rest of our lives. All right, we're not 11 or 12. And look, that's another thing of society. The guy is 20, 21, 22, 23, can't wash his clothes, can't make food, can't put his clothes away, can't make his bed. Can't even heat up the food that his mum's made. What kind of a man is that? Can't iron his clothes. Basically, he's not self-sufficient, can't look after himself. What kind of a man is that? That's not a man in my book. Sorry, I don't care how hairy he is. I don't care how long his beard is. This is not a man. Not in my book anyway. All right, so there has to be the connection in salat and outside of salat. And that only comes when the balance comes between mind, body and spirit. So we have to be conscious of these things. Instead of being conscious of, how the messages I got and wasting our mind and our heart on things that are not so important. We have to change our priorities so that our mind can be focused on those things that are important and we can benefit from them. All right? And the first of those is the completion of the ruku' and the sujood. Knowing that, why am I bowing? Why am I in ruku'? I could be doing anything else. Why am I doing it? What's the purpose of it? And then even in the Subhan Rabbil Azim, what am I saying? Azamatullah. Why am I talking about the magnanimous of Allah, the magnanimity of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Why am I doing that? Why am I in ruku'? Why am I waiting for doing the tasbih 3 times? What's the significance of that? And alright, in your farad salat, maybe you shouldn't do that, but isn't there some time in my life where I want to have a connection between my sujood and me? My ruku' we're talking about, and my sujood. Don't I want to have a connection between me and the different aspects of prayer? Don't I want to work on that? I want to work on my handwriting. I want to work on my basketball shooting skills. I want to work on my ability to make my hijab, nice and symmetrical or whatever it is. I want to work on my ability to cook better. I want to work on my ability to be a better, store person, bookkeeper, accountant, whatever I might be. I want to work on my ability to have bigger, stronger biceps or less flab, as the case might be. But what? No connection with my ruku'. Never. Once in a time in my life when I actually went into ruku' and loved it, enjoyed it, thought about Allah Azza wa Jalla, thought about why this position. Why did Allah order me to do this? Why? What's the significance of this movement that I'm making? And the same with sujood, the same with tashahhud, the same with qiyam. Why put my hands on my middle there? What's going on? The sister's a bit higher. What's the deal? What's it all about? And it's a secret. It's for you to find out. It's for you to find out. There's nothing in the books. There's ideas, but it's for you. Allah gave the salat for you as an individual, and it's for you to work it out. And what it may mean to you, it may be different to me. The question is, have I ever pondered over it? Have I ever put myself in the circumstance or the situation to benefit from it, to really delve into it and understand it? So the first thing is to complete it, and then give the time, and then to ponder over it and have a connection with it. One time we were doing this matter for this guy, it was between his families, and then subhanAllah, he came in and he said, all done. I said, no worries. The guy automatically jumped off the chair and went into sujood. I was just, subhanAllah, I was in awe. I was totally in awe. He was so happy, but how he's got a connection to sujood. Jumped off the chair, he just like leapt up onto his fours. I was just totally amazed. Totally just, wow, what a man, mashallah. What a person. That he's so happy that Allah Azza wa Jal dealt with his issue, and that his response wasn't that, shall I write the check out for you or give us your bank details. His response was leaping onto the ground into sujood. So that brother's obviously got a connection. Then he says, وَالْمُحَافَظَةَ عَلَى السُّنَنِ وَالْآدَابِ الَّتِي نَدَبَكَ الشَّرَعُ إِلَى الْعَمَلِ بِهَا فِي صَلَاتِكَ.
That's right.
You're right.
Be careful also to observe those sunnahs and good manners which are indicated in the law, and avoid anything that may either impair the prayer or just prevent it from being perfect.
Alright, so the first part of that, again, adab, etiquettes. And as we said, even to your mum who loves you more than anyone, if you were to go to her, make me food. Where's the food? Some mums accept it, which is just totally wrong, but you're really not going to wash. Even if you did the hard day's work and then you went to get your pay, like, I want my pay. People would be like, yeah, alright, whatever. So the etiquette, even though it's not wajib upon us or fard upon us, The etiquette is actually the precursor because it goes to one's state. It goes to one's condition. It's not just manners. It's not just the manners. Adab is deeper than manners because it goes to one's disposition and one's character. And one on the outside, it might be easy to fudge manners. It might be easy to say, oh, please and thank you and no worries and this and that. But when push comes to shove, what really comes out, na'udhu billahi subhanahu wa ta'ala min dhalik, is the true identity of the person, the true, what they call in Arabic, the ma'den, the makeup of that individual. And so having adab with Allah Azza wa Jal, having that disposition or character with Allah Azza wa Jal, is a precursor to having it with everybody else. That's what comes first. When a person has that reverence and respect for Allah Azza wa Jal, and then a person can accept their circumstances, can accept the calamities that may befall them, can accept the difficulties that one experiences in life, can accept and the challenges and fulfill them. So then, whatever happens from the ibad, from the servants of Allah Azza wa Jal, is smooth sailing. But please and thank you and being nice, and Allah sends something, and the reality of the internal state of that individual isn't as it is externally, then everything falls apart. So it's the opposite of what we think, having adab. It's the opposite of what we think. The initial adab is with Allah Azza wa Jal. So that's what the Imam's talking about. So he says that sticking to those adab, sticking to those adab. For example, not rolling up your sleeves if you're a brother. The other thing is, as we said, looking at your plates of sujood. It's makruh and Abu Hanifa and the Shafi'i. Yeah, if you want, but don't forget the sisters, they get cold straight away. Yalla. Alright? Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad. So there's different adab for the miswak. You're facing Allah. Praying in your pajamas and your grotty old clothes. If you can avoid it, if you're working or whatever, alright. But if I came to your house, you wouldn't see me in your pajamas. You're sick, that's a different story. But you wouldn't answer the door if myself or someone else came to your house, your fiance or your parents. I wouldn't be there. Why are you going to come in your pajamas? Okay? So it's, how would you do that with Allah Azza wa Jal? That's the adab. And one time one of the students, he bought a nice thawb, nice robe for one of the mashayikh, very expensive. And the sheikh gave it back to him and he said, look, alhamdulillah, I'm not in need, you're a student. You use this for tahajjud. Tahajjud is the night prayer. And the student was a bit baffled. He's like, why would it's it's top of the range stuff. Why would I use it for tahajjud? Why wouldn't I wear it to Jum'ah? When everyone's going to see me. He says, because that's the adab between you and Allah Azza wa Jal. That's the etiquette you have. And look, our problem is that Tony, you're going Tony. Talking about the Prime Minister. Not Mr. Prime Minister or Mr. Americans don't say that to their Prime Minister, their President. They always say Mr. President. Even when they talk about the President, they say. They don't belittle him, it's not the thing. So, because we've got that, we think Allah's like, hey, how you going, brother? What's happening? Alright, it's good if one day you have that relationship with Allah, because Sayyidina Ibrahim, Musa alayhi salatu wasalam, he was kind of like that. Musa, what's in your right hand, Musa? I saw you do this. I'm still asking what Allah's leading. He's jumped on, he's gone. So Allah Azza wa Jal used to kind of, like the ulama would say, kind of have fun, like poke fun a little bit with Sayyidina Musa. Alright, if you got that relationship, no worries. Go in your cut off trackies and pray in your tank top and all that, whatever it is. For the brothers, that is. Okay? Alright, but when you're at that level, it's different. Some of the, as we said previously, some of the Salihin, they would never even have a shower without wearing the izar, covering their private parts from their knees to their navel, out of reverence for Allah Azza wa Jal. Okay, so we missed that because of the way we're brought up. We missed that. Like talking to, I think you put it on hot, didn't you?
It's on 24.
All right. So we would never in the old days, even in the States, even in Australia, they would call their dad sir. You know that? People used to call their dad sir. They wouldn't call their dad whatever dad, Bobo, Booyah, whatever it is, Papa. They would call their dad sir. Sir, out of respect and reverence. I kind of like it. I think it's a good thing when kids are young especially. I think it's a good thing because that authority figure represents in that way a greater figure, which is Allah Azza wa Jalla. When it's not there, don't worry, Habibi, it should be right. I was saying the boys, they got into a Krispy Kreme, and we saw some of the brothers that we knew, they were at McDonald's, and they were having a bit of a commotion. And what's happened? They go, oh, this guy, the cops are called. They go, what he's doing here? Go away. They're like, no, we're waiting for the cops. What? What do you mean you're waiting for the cops? You just did something. And then we left, and then later on, it was on the news. You know, the guys are fighting with the police. What's the matter with you people? They're the police. Yaki, you're in the right. I'm with you. And they're a racist. Yes, I'm with you. I'm not saying they are, but I'm just, you know, being facetious and embellishing the ideology and the philosophy of these kids. Yaki, they're the worst people in the world. Why wait for them? If they catch you, they catch you. They don't catch you, go home. No, we're waiting for them. No respect. They've got no respect. And we think all our problems, and this is from here. It's not from because, you know, ISIS and the internet and whatever. It's because there's no respect for mum and dad. And probably dad, dole bludgeoning for the last 35, 40 years, it doesn't deserve respect. And they're not interested in these kids anyway. So there's that hierarchy. It's Allah. It's Allah. Yes, we all want to be buddy-buddy, and we all want to, but that's not the reality of the world. I'm very, very sorry. Go try and be buddy-buddy with the judge. One time we were in court, and the judge said to the other side, what do you think about doing that? And then the lawyer, idiot, goes, my client, right, won't do it. He's only asking the question, because the judges, they're very smart, especially in family law. They're telling you what they're going to do, but instead of forcing you to do it, they just tell you, what do you think about this? And then if you're smart, you say, yes, Your Honor, we agree. He's going to do it anyway. But if it's from your own volition, if you consent to it, it's better for you. And then, Your Honor, my client won't do it. And the judge's face went red. I've never seen a judge go off like that. Red. This is my court. Blah, blah, blah. He gave it to him. And I was loving it because I can ask for whatever. I know straight away that I can ask for whatever I want then, because the judges turned against those people. And we asked and played around with the judge and played around with them, drove them even more crazy. During a judge, but even if you know the judge. And I know the judge. I know on a first name basis with the guy. So what? So what? It's the mawqif again. If he sees me outside, he'll, yeah, you go and give me a hug. But inside, I can't even say good morning to him. I can't even smile at him. So how is it with Allah Azza wa Jalla, the judge of judges, the supreme of the supremes, subhanahu wa ta'ala? If those basic adab aren't there, right, for a man putting atar, miswak, making sure that your clothes are nice, you're clean, they're the adab, right? If those things aren't there, then how are you going to get a connection with Allah? How's it going to happen? It's going to be very difficult. والاحتراز عما يوجب نقصا في الصلاة أو يفوت به وجود الكمال. So being careful about those things that are...
If you conform to this, your prayer
No, before that. الاحتراز, being careful about not...
Be careful also to observe
That's
those
the one.
manners and good manners which are indicated in the law, and avoid anything that may either impair the prayer or just prevent it from being perfect.
Okay, so that goes as well to the internal aspects. Okay, you're thinking about haram, you're not, because what's the hadith say? Hadith says some people, there's two different ones. One hadith says that everyone gets a rank for their prayer, from 1 to 10, in regards to look how straightforward it is, the hadith. 1 to 10 you get ranked. The top 10 reasons why your prayer is not accepted. Okay, so they're ranked from 0 to 10. You're fully concentrating, fully devoted, it's 10. You're somewhere in between, it's less. You're not there at all, there's 0. And another hadith says, to a point, or it might be a continuation of that hadith actually, it goes on to say that to the point where if someone's completely not there in their prayer, it's like a rag. What do you use a rag for? Hey, cleaning up dirty stuff. Don't use a rag for. It's like a rag and it gets thrown back in that person's face. It's rejected. Or you're going to come to Allah in the most immense of scenarios that's ever occurred since the beginning of anything, since creation began, and you're going to not focus? What? We said the judge got angry. What about Allah Azza wa Jal? Judge is going home, but Judge Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made us. He created us. He made us who we are. Gave us what He gave us subhanahu wa ta'ala. Protected us from what was evil. And we're just going to, like, in the prayer, in that mawqif, in that scenario, not be conscious of Him subhanahu wa ta'ala. فإنك إذا فعلت ذلك خرجت صلاتك بدياء مسفرة تقول حفظك الله كما حفظتني.
If you conform to this, your prayer will emerge white and glowing, and it will say, "May God safeguard you as you have safeguarded me."
How about that? Read it again if you don't mind, Hamid.
If you conform to this, your prayer will emerge white and glowing, and it will say, "May God safeguard you as you have safeguarded me."
White and glowing. Noor! Noor! From what is obliged upon you. What is obligatory for you to perform will give you light. Will give you noor. Will illuminate your existence. Will make your soul white. And Allah Azza wa Jalla talks about that, having white souls. The heart, how when a bad deed is done, it becomes black. One black spot, one black, till the heart is completely black. This is the opposite of that. They're totally white. They're totally illuminated. The angels, they're white. They're made of noor. And that's what one gets from a fard prayer. And then what does it say? حفظك كما حفظك الله كما حفظتني. But Allah Azza wa Jal, hifz isn't just protection. It's being careful of as well. So may Allah protect you and be careful in regards to you, like you were careful of me and looked after me. That's what your prayer is going to say to you. Insha'Allah ta'ala. وَإِلَّا خَرَجَتْ سَوْدَاء مُظْلِمَ تَقُولُ ضَيَّعَكَ اللَّهُ كَمَا ضَيَعْتَنِي.
Otherwise, it will come out black and dark and will say, "May God ruin you as you have ruined me."
وَنَعُوذُ بِاللَّهِ سُبْحَانَهُ وَتَعَالَى. From the prayer. So, the prayer itself, which is obligatory upon you, will seek from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for your destruction. And that's how perilous it is for the heart. The body khas, Allah's not going to ask you. You prayed dhuhr, whatever. It's gone. The farida is gone. The thing that's been written upon you, tick or cross, it's crossed off the list for the day. But the reality we're talking about. What's the reality? وقد قال عليه الصلاة والسلام ليس للمرء من صلاته إلا ما عقل منها.
The Prophet has said, may blessings and peace be upon him, only that of which the believer is conscious during his prayer is credited to him. Alright?
So, again, referring to the same things that we're referring upon. So, إِلَّا مَا عَقَلَ مِنْهَا. In other words, presence of mind. Not wandering the mind over here and I'm going to buy this later, I'm going to go there, I'm going to do this, whatever, oh, I've got this to do and I wish I didn't have to pray. That's probably the worst thing that a person can say. Oh man, kusala, that's what kusala means. I'm not interested in doing it. Slacker. A kusala is someone that doesn't, like at school, the person who didn't do his homework. He's at school every day. He doesn't do his homework. They call him kislan. That's the kind of connotation. He's still there in school. Still got his books and his pencils and recess, a little lunch, big lunch. He's got everything in his bag. He's ready to go. But not really into it. That's the kusala. So if a person ever comes to the circumstance, oh man, I wish, what am I going to pray for? That's the epitome of kusala, of that slackness. And when Allah Azza wa Jalla will end up having the prayer rejected. قال حسن البصري رحمه الله تعالى كل صلاة لا يحضر فيها القلب فهي على العقوبة أسرع.
Al-Hasan al-Basri, may God be pleased with him, has said, every prayer in which the heart is not attentive is nearer to punishment than it is to reward.
Oh, I don't know how to even respond to that. Like a person is going to get punished because of their prayers. A person is praying. And don't think that the people in the hellfire, they don't make fun of those people that pray. That's what they do. They say, look at you, okay, all right, we did this and we were corrupted and we went out and we drank and we took drugs and you know, liwat and homosexuality and lewdness and and promiscuity and everything. When you were praying, they'll make fun of the person. They'll gather around and make fun of that person. That's in the prophetic tradition is mentioned. It's mentioned in the hadith and in the athar. That's what's going to happen to the people. They said La ilaha illallah and they ended up, because why? Their salah, like that's scary. I don't know what you guys think, but I reckon that's super scary. That through what Allah has made fard, through what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made fard, the person's getting punished because they weren't present in their prayer. They didn't fulfill the rights of Allah Azza wa Jal in their prayer. That's scary. So basically, if you want to look at it, that means that the fact that tick or cross that the Dhuhr or the Maghrib is finished, so the Maghrib prayer is just done, or the Isha, that's not good enough. If anyone has an iota of Iman, an atom's weight of Iman, that's not going to be good enough. So if that's not good enough, I have to think to myself, what changes should I make in my mind and in my heart and in my body, so that when I do pray, I do have that consciousness, and that in fact my salat does become light. And in fact my salat itself, because all your deeds on the Day of Judgment will take a physical form. They'll come as a man, they'll come as a woman, and they'll either say, Ya Allah, smash him, he wasn't into it, or Ya Allah, hold the adhab, Ya Allah, this person was present in their prayers. So I think that's an awesome note to leave on, because it's a lot to think about. That's a lot to ponder over. And I'd ask you to do so over the next few days. Wa sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. Any questions about any of that? Tafadhal.
You know, for Salat al-Witr, I know if you've missed a fard salah, you should do qada, or if you've missed Salat al-Witr in the past, you have to do qada.
No, there's no need to do qada for it, but try not to leave it. Witr is, remember, like all the other madhab except Imam Shafi'i say that there's wujub to it, that it should be done. And the Imam Shafi'i, it's sunnah ghayr mu'akkada, it's not mu'akkada, but it's the hadith says whoever doesn't pray witr, laysa minna, is not from us. So the Shafi'i say all the other madhab on that it has to be prayed, it's wajib, so we follow it. Even though the hukm of it is only sunnah, that we still should pray it. It's not in the Shafi'i, no, but in other, Imam Abu Hanifa says that it's wajib, yeah. They never missed it. But Imam Shafi'i doesn't say that. But the rest do. They say never used to miss it, alayhi salatu wasalam. The witr prayer. Alright, any other questions about any of those things? Or anything else, as a matter of fact? Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen wa salatu wa salam ala khayrina wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. Ya Rahman Rahim, alhamdulillah, rahmatullahi wa sallam, wa ala as-sirat al-mustaqim, ya Arhamar Rahimin. نسألك أن توفقنا لما تحب وترضى وتثبتنا عليه. نسألك أن تغسل قلوبنا من الأدناس يا أرحم الراحمين، ومن الشوائب يا أرحم الراحمين، ومن كل ما يغضبك يا أرحم الراحمين. نسألك أن تدخلنا الجنة بلا عذاب وبلا حساب. نسألك يا أرحم الراحمين أن توفقنا وأن تثبتنا وأن تزيدنا بما أعطيتنا. Ya Allah, we ask you to forgive us and forgive our sins. Ya Allah, we ask you to forgive our misgivings and misguidings. Ya Allah, we ask you to protect us from all the evil and the sins that's out there. Ya Allah, we ask you to make those people that are righteous, and we ask you to give us that concentration and that consciousness in our prayers, Ya Allah, so that our prayers may become white, Ya Allah. And we ask you to protect us as we protected that prayer, Ya Allah. We ask you to have a true relationship between us and you through that prayer. And we ask you, Ya Allah, to create and imbue in our hearts before we get up from the seats in which we're sitting, the love for you and the love for your prayers, Ya Arhamar Rahimin, and the connection that what should anything occur in our lives that we're perturbed about or we have a dilemma over, that we should turn to our prayers, Ya Arhamar Rahimin. Ya Allah, we ask you, Ya Allah, to elevate the status of our mashaykh and the scholars so they may fight the evil that's in the world. We ask you to protect us from that evil that's out there. We ask you to alleviate the difficulties, the trials and the tribulations from the ummah of the Prophet of Allah, and we ask you to return the ummah of the Prophet of Allah to you in the most beautiful fashion, Ya Arhamar Rahimin. Ya Allah, we ask you, Ya Arhamar Rahimin, to protect those who facilitated us to use this place to teach your deen, Ya Arhamar Rahimin. And we ask you, Ya Allah, to protect our mashaykh and to elevate their status. بخير ملك وعافية ولا حضرة النبي بالسر الفاتحة.